Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So this tweet here, guys, is from James Rule XRP at Rule XRP on Twitter. I saw it about a week ago now, and it has to do with this idea that Ripple, or rather XRP, may hit $10,000 according to a $1 billion forecast posted on Forbes. Now, before you guys get upset, I know I've already done a video on this. I did it in February 2019, but I know some of you guys haven't heard this idea before, and let me just be clear. My video is about the idea that XRP is in fact designed to hit $10,000 at a maximum price. However, there is no price prediction in there that suggests that it will hit $10,000. So the video got a lot of traction last year, and so we're going to get into that in a bit. First, this article here. So this article with regards to Steve Wynn, and I was doing a little bit of research on Steve Wynn. Apparently, he is a blackjack guy of some sort, blackjack player. Steve Wynn here, I'm assuming this is the same guy. Stephen Allen Wynn is an American real estate businessman and art collector. He is also known for his involvement in the American luxury casino and hotel industry. And so, yeah, you guys have heard of Wynn Hotel. I remember seeing that when I was in Las Vegas. So that's the guy. Anyway, what does he say about XRP? He believes the price of XRP can go as high as $10,000 on the market. According to an interview with the Forbes billionaire, altcoins will take an important role in money transfer. The blackjack player's prediction for the cryptocurrency reflects a long-term investment strategy. According to Wynn, the XRP will be considered an international currency. The famous player explains that the altcoin project may be responsible for such an assessment. It says here that he's an investor in XRP. Steve Wynn expects altcoins to appreciate in the coming years, but he has no target price to sell. In the interview, the billionaire stated that he also invests in other cryptocurrencies in addition to XRP. However, it is XRP that can be used as the international remittance transfer system, according to the player. Wynn predicts that a large adoption of the cryptocurrency will cause the price to be $10,000 in the market. I don't really know if he actually said this or if this is just something that he may be parroting from, well, you know, Mark Phillips's article. The fact that XRP was designed for $10,000 means something very, very different than XRP will indeed, in fact, 100% positively hit $10,000. So, this is his long-term forecast. Ripple can unquestionably perform well in the market if Steve Wynn's prediction comes true. The billionaire gamer predicts that the cryptocurrency will trade at $10,000 in the coming years. To explain the forecast, Steve Wynn says that XRP represents an important value transfer system that can be adopted on a massive scale. This to me sounds like very, very basic stuff for the XRP community. A lot of us already know about this, and so, you know, him telling us that XRP can actually hit $10,000 seems a bit rudimentary. But the billionaire's long-term bet on the price of XRP is related to Ripple technology that can be used as a means of payment for the transfer of value. You know what? I think I'm just going to stop there. Ultimately, somebody else realizing the value of XRP, and it is indeed billionaire Steve Wynn, obviously the owner of the luxury Wynn Hotel in Las Vegas, and of course a businessman and blackjack player. So why is this important? Well, I thought it was time to revisit this idea, and you know what? Like I said before, guys, this video got a lot of traction. I want to play it for you next. I did cut out some parts to this. I thought this was kind of funny. Mark Phillips here says, sounds familiar? That was the guy who originally wrote this article. XRP was designed for $10,000. Nevertheless, let me just get back to this. To set the record straight, I do believe that XRP was designed for $10,000 and that it could one day hit $10,000. Let me play you portions of the video I did last year as a refresher. So Easy XRP, that's at ERST69, dropped this tweet today linking to a Medium article and the author's Mark Phillips. And Mark Phillips suggests that XRP has the potential to be at a top end of $10,000 per XRP. And he says the evidence is in the design. Now, of course, that sounds amazingly great. And so I want to get into this and read a little bit of this with you guys. When XRP was created, it was designed to be a replacement for both institutional and retail financial systems in every market around the world. How do we know this? An examination of how XRP is constructed makes this evident. A somewhat famous quote from Ripple Labs co-founder Arthur Brutto provides a tantalizing clue. In 2017, he wrote, XRP must be scalable to accommodate 7.5 35 billion people. And guys, I did a video on that a few days ago, that quote. Arthur Brito has essentially stated, not so directly, that XRP should be able to help facilitate the world's transactions. And so Phillips states, we'll come back to that quote a little later. Right now, he wants to examine the main features of XRP that support his claim that it was designed to carry a value of $10,000 per XRP. So liquidity and availability. XRP's primary use case is to enable cross-border payments that are faster, cheaper, and more reliable than existing systems such as SWIFT. We know that. So on Ripple's own Insights blog, Shanna Leonard explains how XRP is the only digital asset specifically designed for financial institutions and payment providers, by providing them with a reliable on-demand source of liquidity for cross-border payments. According to Investopedia, liquidity describes the degree to which an asset or security can be quickly bought or sold in the market without affecting the asset's price. Now, I know that'll sound counterintuitive kind of as we go through this, but I'll try to explain it to the best of my ability. What we see in today's market is price volatility as a relatively small number of investors buy and sell XRP on exchanges. So that's what we're seeing currently, right? We don't necessarily have the liquidity that we need at this moment, and so that's why you're seeing, even with small transactions, we're starting to see price rise and decrease very rapidly, and that's kind of been the story of the entire crypto market to date. There just isn't the liquidity. So liquidity for XRP or any crypto comes as the price rises. Higher prices equals higher liquidity. The fact that Ripple Labs locked up, okay, so then it talks about the escrow, the 55% of total in a time-released way has been disciplined in relocking the unsold portion. So again, the escrow is not to screw us out of our millions, guys. The escrow is to mitigate the buying and selling. When this thing scales at max potential, the prices will rise, but we can't see drastic increases and decreases and increases and decreases. The price will rise eventually with the liquidity. And again, the escrow is to help mitigate that. And Ripple is saying, look, we're doing this escrow thing to kind of help that as we kind of move through this process. So in the previous 6 months, XRP's prices range from 25 cents to 60 cents, which represents a 120% range either side of the median. Even though this is a massive movement, it is not problematic for institutional use because XRP's fast 1 to 5 second settlement times. So what is problematic, however, is that the price movement was driven by relatively small retail investments. So again, there was the lack of liquidity, right? To move value on the scale of Swift's $5 trillion of daily transactions requires much more liquidity than is available in today's XRP pool. If some 45 billion XRP are available, this would require a price of approximately $111. We know that some of the XRP supply has been burnt or lost, and much larger percentage is probably locked up as long-term investors hold XRP, such as you and I, guys. Thus, an even smaller supply of XRP requires an even higher price to provide the minimum liquidity to accommodate SWIFT. So right now, because of the lack of liquidity, XRP cannot facilitate these transactions, and this is why they are setting up liquidity pools around the globe. They're partnering with Coins.ph, Bitso, Bittrex, so on and so forth. And they're continuing to partner with even more liquidity providers to be able to have these liquidity pools placed around the globe in order for this to happen. So this problem compounds when XRP's use cases are factored in. So this is not even to mention all the spring initiatives that are going to happen. So all these things will drive demand for liquidity. Fortunately, this added demand will also drive the price, which will provide the liquidity. So in fact, this creates a virtuous circle in which demand increases price, which increases liquidity and demand. So the fact that there isn't a lot of liquidity means that the market will be volatile in that XRP will command a higher price because there just isn't enough of it at a certain price. Let's say somebody wants to buy 1,000, but only one person is selling 10, and then the next person is selling 20, and the next person is selling 30. As the price moves up, then the price will shoot up drastically. The same will happen when one sells XRP. But in a world where there will be so much demand for XRP, we need to have the liquidity, even just to be able to maintain a sufficiently high enough price for companies to be able to transact efficiently and effectively amongst each other. So how high can this go? If the entire 1.14 trillion value of all asset classes was tokenized via XRP, that would require at least 11,400 per XRP. Okay, this isn't likely to happen, but it demonstrates the scale of liquidity that XRP is designed to handle. So All value asset classes valued at 1.14 trillion. Let's say in 10 years, everything becomes tokenized. Everybody's on the XRP train. We could possibly see an XRP at 11,000 theoretically. But what about the other end? So divisibility. In his briefish history of XRP, James Hunt noted that there is a max supply of 100 billion XRP being divisible by 6 decimal places, meaning that the smallest unit, one drop, is 1/1,000,000th of 1 XRP. Why would XRP designers make the token so divisible? At a value of 31 cents, this is absurd, of course, right? After all, who could possibly require the use of 1/1,000,000th of 31 cents? But at a much higher token value, and this is the thing, when XRP was created, and the same with Bitcoin, okay? Bitcoin divisibility, I'm just going to talk about this for a second here. Bitcoin divisibility, this is why some refer to infinite divisibility, because we can select the level that we need as time goes on. So this is for Bitcoin. The current level selected is the code by Satoshi, and that is at 8 decimal places. So 1 Bitcoin can be divisible by 8 decimal places. So 0.000000001 BTC is 1 Satoshi. That is the smallest possible unit, and that is embedded directly in the code. What they are saying, though, is that Bitcoin is theoretically infinite in its divisibility. And I'm not a big coder or anything like that, but I'm sure that has to do with the code and changes that would need to occur with the code. But getting back to XRP here, the fact that they have made XRP divisible to 5 decimal spots just goes to show you that it is meant to be used as a token of high value in order to facilitate these transactions. We got to remember, guys, XRP was designed out of Bitcoin's failures. We saw how Bitcoin failed over the years, and now the masterminds behind XRP are creating a token, or have rather created a token that has fixed all those mistakes. So they have made it divisible by 5 decimal spots, and Mark Phillips describes this here, but at a much higher token value, say $10,000 per XRP, that divisibility makes sense for 2 reasons: low transaction costs and affordability for small retail use. And as we know, XRP is touted as being a solution for the unbanked, also for micropayments. Not to mention all the other use cases that it can handle. So low transaction costs. The XRP Ledger dev portal notes that the minimum transaction cost required by the network for a standard transaction is 0.00001 XRP, so that's 10 drops. It sometimes increases due to higher than usual load. So even at a $10,000 XRP value, the transaction cost still would only be approximately 10 cents US. So affordability, 1 cent, is arguably the smallest denomination that would be necessary to use XRP as a means of transacting everyday retail exchanges, even in developing markets where much of the population is unbanked. This could provide affordable access, and so I talked a little bit about the unbanked here. And then it talks a little bit about who's unbanked, in what countries. Guys, I'll link this article in the description if you want to read the whole thing. And then he finally gets back to Arthur Britto's statement that the XRP ledger needs to be able to scale to serve 7.5 billion people and even more devices. A new account mechanism that should allow the XRP ledger to efficiently service humanity scale usage is in development. This would allow everyone to have an account on the XRP ledger for low cost while providing the necessary performance for humanity level service. I expect most users of XRP will use hosted accounts for their day-to-day needs, holding small amounts of XRP, placing orders, and making payments. So this is his prediction here. The design decisions that went into creating XRP's structure lead me to believe that it was designed to operate at a $10,000 per XRP price to serve a truly global market. And so, guys, this isn't happening tomorrow, by the way. Mark Phillips is just kind of giving his input on once XRP is in the eyes and minds of the world, once everybody realizes that it is the better way to go, it is already structured. There doesn't need to be any retooling. It is already structured to be a $10,000 per XRP price and still be able to function properly. So that was part of the problem with Bitcoin and with the proof of work. As the price rose of Bitcoin, it wasn't efficient to make transactions. Also, it took way too long. XRP has already solved these problems. So the obvious question that any XRP holder will ask now is, will it get that high? Of course, that's what we're all thinking, right? I sure hope so, but there are no guarantees. If it happens, I don't think it will be in the next 5 years, and that's exactly what I think too. To see a $10,000 XRP, we could see one down the road. You know, it took Bitcoin to get this far, and we're only just getting started with this cryptocurrency revolution. So there you guys have it. XRP can hit $10,000. But I got a lot of backlash from this, okay? I got a lot of backlash. So the very next day, I did another video, and let me play you a little bit of that. I did want to make a change, and it looks like he did make the change here. I think in the original article, he wrote $1.14 trillion value of all asset classes, and what he meant was 1.14 quadrillion. So there's the change. I believe he did make it in the article. Nevertheless, wanted to thank Mark Phillips for that. Okay, so first there was that little correction, but let's keep getting into this. When you say $10,000 per XRP, if I were to give that price prediction and say that that is going to happen tomorrow, that is going to happen in a year from now, that is going to happen in 2 years from now, that is even going to happen in 5 years from now, it's very unlikely because our market just isn't there yet. But think about it for a second. This article just came out. PayPal CEO predicts digital payments industry will mature into a $100 trillion market. This is the CEO of PayPal. PayPal is used all around the world right now to transfer funds digitally. Okay, digital commerce is not getting any less popular. Digital commerce is just getting more popular. And so he says that he could actually see the market grow to $100 trillion. So that is huge. A lot of us don't want to believe that $10,000 per coin is possible because we're only looking at it in this narrow perspective of what our market conditions are today. And if you're young, for example, and I'm not putting down young people, but if you don't really have a good grasp on historical economics, and maybe you're just into this, you're new to it in the last 6 months or something, that is something that you should really consider because our economy will change, it will expand. The population on Earth is only getting larger, and moreover, retail markets, for example, are becoming less and less brick and mortar and more online, as the CEO of PayPal suggests. The second thing we have to consider is the fact that the value of our dollar, because of inflation, has gone down and 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 down over the years. And this is just a chart kind of demonstrating where our dollar was in. So it compares $100. So in 1915, if you had $100, it would be worth $100. It kind of took a baseline from 100 years ago. This article was written in 2015, and I guess the author just kept updating it. But 100 years later, that $100 would be worth $2,324. No, that's not considering interest, guys. This isn't an interest chart or an interest calculator. That is just because of inflation. And because of inflation, our money is worth less. I know on this chart it looks like it's worth more, but think of it this way. If you could buy something in 1915 that was worth $100, you could buy the same thing today, the exact same item, for $2,300, or rather $2,487 today in 2019. The point I'm trying to make here is that inflation exists and it is devaluing your money every year. So in 30 years, in 40 years, how much is your dollar going to be worth? And so fiat money's worth is based on what your government says it's worth. And we have no control over that. So to see an XRP hitting $10,000 in 50 years, in 60 years, in 30 years, I don't know. What's your dollar going to be worth then? Again, very interesting questions we have to wrap our head around, and this is why it has to be built and designed to sustain that price. Okay, this isn't happening tomorrow. I'm not suggesting that $10,000 per XRP is happening in 1 year, in 2 years, in 5 years even. But guys, when you raid Twitter and you start saying, well, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. First he said 589, now he's saying this, now he's saying that. It's like, guys, use your effing brains. So inflation is one thing, not having control over what the dollar is worth because of government intervention, and that kind of goes along with this. Just wanted to give you an example here. With the Zimbabwe dollar, $1 US is worth 361.9 Zimbabwean dollars. And we've seen these political economical problems around the world in countries like Venezuela, Zimbabwe, where their currency is hyperinflated because of government intervention, because of a problem, a catastrophe. And governments have chosen to do this. And the result is people wheelbarrowing piles of money to the grocery store to buy a loaf of bread. So in the worst case scenario, if there is ever a political economic problem in the United States and this happens, God forbid, again, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if it happens, the US dollar could collapse And therefore, a price of $10,000 per XRP isn't so crazy after all. Because again, your fiat is only worth what your government decides based on where they decide to put this decimal point. So some food for thought. I never said that XRP was going to hit $10,000. All I suggested was this, that building an XRP token right now to withstand a $10,000 price might be a little overkill, but absolutely necessary if our pristine tropical climate turns into an apocalyptic gale force ice rain blizzard in the next 24, 48, or 72 hours. Being prepared doesn't hurt anyone. Whoa, that was intense. It seems as though I was feeling very passionate about this last year, getting very defensive of my video. Okay, so you guys have heard the video. Can XRP hit $10,000? I think it is indeed possible. We talk a little bit about inflation. Well, first we talk about brick and mortar businesses, and so I wanted to bring up this article here. Everything you need to know about cross-border payments. This I just looked up, cross-border payments. What do I need to know about cross-border payments if I know nothing? Well, this website, not connected to Ripple or XRP in particular, but it does say cross-border payments shopping will make up 20% of e-commerce by 2022 with sales of $630 billion. The international presence of e-commerce is rapidly growing. Don't miss out on the opportunity to be part of it. By 2022, cross-border e-commerce will span across at least 29 countries over the regions of North America, Latin America, Europe, Asia Pacific, Africa, and the Middle East. So guys, 2022 is just around the corner, and to think that 20% of e-commerce will indeed need cross-border payments, you got to think of how much money is flowing across borders. And now that we're in a pandemic, this has been accelerated even further. In that last video, I also talked about the idea of inflation and how our dollar's value is becoming worth less and less, which also, in a sense, gives the idea of a $10,000 XRP a bit more merit. Okay, think of it. If the dollar value is going down, well then, compared to the USD, XRP price will go up. That's just fundamental mathematics. Let's look a little bit more at cross-border payments. So what is cross-border financing? Cross-border financing, also known as import and export financing, refers to a financing arrangement that occurs outside a country's borders. Cross-border financing helps businesses participate in international trade by providing a source of funding that enables them to compete globally and conduct business beyond their domestic borders. Now, cross-border financing also is going to be increasing in the coming years. This is why Ripple wants to set up their liquidity rails, make sure that they have a decent size presence in many of the countries around the world so that cross-border transactions, at least on the retail level to begin with, because those are targeting smaller payments, so that those can be accomplished first, but then targeting those big high-value payments. And I think that that is phase 2 of their master plan. Okay, right now, building liquidity, setting up retail payments under $10,000 for, if you want to flit some cash back and forth. This idea that Brad Garlinghouse says it is actually quicker for him to get on a plane with a briefcase of money and give the money to somebody in England rather than sending it via the current system we have now, which is the SWIFT system. And so let's take a look at some of these numbers, guys. So this is the top U.S. goods exports. So some of the exports to other countries, the biggest ones, food and beverage feed, $133 billion a year. Crude oil, fuel, and other petroleum, $109 billion. Civilian aircraft and aircraft engines, $99 billion. Auto parts, engines, and car tires, $86 billion. Industrial machinery, $57 billion. Passenger cars, $53 billion. And pharmaceuticals, $51 billion. So these are just some of the top U.S. goods. These are just goods. These are not even services. These are services here. Travel and transportation at $236 billion. Finance and insurance, $76 billion. Sales from intellectual property at $49 billion. So the United States, obviously a big economy, but I just wanted to take a look at some of these numbers and break it down. Now we know the economy is huge. Food, beverage, and feed alone, $133 billion per year. These are the 2017 numbers, but as we know, as the economy grows, as more countries want to do business with other countries, and as the population grows, these numbers will indeed go up. So guys, I just wanted to do some simple math to give you guys an idea of the magnitude and how XRP can indeed reach $10,000, or rather the need for it to reach $10,000. So first I have this, why XRP has to command a high enough price. And I have has capitals here because the argument I'm trying to make is that XRP has to be a high price because too many XRP will be needed otherwise to source the liquidity for the transfer of value in the world economy. So we have food, beverage, and feed export industry only in the US alone. Okay, guys, I'm getting a bit excited because I want to just point this out that this is just this is just the export industry alone in the US alone. And we're talking about $133 billion. So let's put that in here. And if we divide that by 52 weeks, let's just say, and I'm using this as a sample, okay? This is all the food, beverage, and feed industry in the United States, and this is just the exports. This doesn't even have to do with imports. This doesn't have to do with other countries' food and beverage industries. This is just one country, the US, and exports alone. So if we look at 52 weeks in a year, how much is that per week in exports alone from all the companies that export food, beverage, and feed in the United States? That comes out to about $2,557,692,307 per week in exports. So that's a large number. If XRP were at 22 cents to settle a weekly payment, now I know this is happening throughout the year and this is through all the companies and they might do business on different days. I'm just giving you guys a sense of a per week on average. This is how much XRP would need in order just to settle the exports alone just for the United States. Okay, so if XRP were at 22 cents to settle a weekly payment, the industry would have to source, guess how much XRP, guys? 11,625,874,122 XRP. Now that's a lot of XRP. You got to think this is why Ripple wants the markets to be liquid, because to take 11.6 billion XRP from the current market and use that to transfer value, guys, let's not forget the market cap of XRP right now is only 44.8 billion. Okay, that's the circulating supply, and you and I are holding some of that. So if XRP were fetching a price of 22 cents, 1/4 of the current circulating supply would be needed in order to facilitate these payments in a 52-week period just for the food, beverage, and feed export industry in the United States alone. But if XRP were at $10,000 to settle a weekly payment, the industry would have to source only 255,769 XRP, a number way more manageable for the same type of transaction weekly. So you got to understand the number needs to be high for Ripple to target these payments because they will need a heck of a lot less of it in order to settle the same types of payments. And so this is why, David Schwartz goes on about it, Brad Garlinghouse goes on about it, liquidity, liquidity, liquidity. The market has to be liquid in order for us to be able to target these high value payments. I also just wanted to bring this up from a couple of days ago. I brought up this tweet from Shade-XRP with regards to Citibank, and this is just another example with regards to tier 1, 2, and 3 banks. Ultimately, they are discussing liquidity, and Digicali mentions here, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Volume in tier 3 builds price. Price and volume builds corridors. Demand suitable for tier 2 banks, Nostro and Vostro. Volume, corridors, price adoption. Then tier 1 banks. So he's talking about tier 1 banks finally deciding to adopt RippleNet, and Galgatron confirms that this is indeed the way it should go. Okay, tier 1 banks are not going to jump on board until there is the volume, until XRP is at that high enough price for them to be able to target the payments that they need to be able to target. And again, guys, this is just another example of this. It's way harder to source 11.6 billion XRP than it is to source 255,000 XRP. Now, of course, these are big numbers, and I have to stress this is just the export industry alone in the United States only. For food, beverage, and feed. This is not to mention all the other industries that exist in all the other countries around the world. So guys, let's remember David Schwartz also brings this up. This from September 2017. It seems like a lifetime ago. The most obvious benefit to Ripple of an increased price for XRP is that it increases the value of Ripple's XRP. This means that Ripple has a greater ability to incentivize partners and liquidity. Indirectly, more value almost always means more liquidity and trade volume. XRP already has each of the other characteristics needed to be a good intermediary asset, but it will be initially limited by the available liquidity. So again, liquidity is key. In order for these markets to be liquid, XRP essentially needs to be at a high enough price for these big players to target the kind of payments that they usually transact in. David Schwartz also brings up a good point. When Bitcoin sold for $1, you couldn't really use them to buy or sell a house. Now you can. Bigger transactions require bigger value. The higher the price of XRP, the larger the payments Ripple can target. When you're expecting exponential growth, even a small increase in your starting point can pay huge dividends down the line. Okay, this directly from the CTO of Ripple, David Schwartz, the man who helped create XRP. And so guys, remember this. How much volume goes through SWIFT? According to the US Treasury, SWIFT handles about $5 trillion per day, or given about 250 business days per year, about $1.25 quadrillion a year. So going back to the American economy, the top US good exports, food, beverage, and feed, only $133 billion, and that is for 1 year. You divide that up, and that is approximately 2.5 billion per week for one industry, for export only, in one country. And again, guys, if XRP were only trading at 22 cents, they would need a quarter of the current circulating supply to transact that. If XRP were to command $10,000, only $255,000 would be needed. So do you think XRP has the potential to reach $10,000? I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.